Canna Consult with JMO Jen, also known as Master Michelle. Welcome in, welcome in. I just want to take a quick minute to show you a trick to rolling a joint. All you need is your cannabis flower and a dollar bill and your papers. Now, when you get cannabis flower, it typically comes in a full bud. If you are a patient who enjoys Grow Healthy products, ask your bud tender wellness counselor advisor at Grow Healthy if they have any last resort. Check, make sure it's good stuff, something you like, but they often have strains called last resort, and other dispensaries will have what's called ground flower. Check the batch testing, make sure it's actually good. Different dispensaries have different methods of producing this ground flower. I've had wonderful success with Grow Healthy's pre-ground flower. If you get cannabis in a bud, in a solid nugget, right? What you want to do is get yourself a grinder. And this style and design is honestly probably the easiest. And I just say that because this is supposed to be fast, easy, and cheap. This grinder you can get for anywhere from $7. Sometimes they come free. Sometimes they're only a couple of dollars extra at your dispensary. This is a plastic canister grinder, and it has the lid. So it has a lid, and then it has two parts. I like this one because it gives you lots of surface to hold. If you have any dexterity issues at all, it's going to make it really easy. All you do is you put your flour, your nuggets, you put your ground nuggets. There are little spikes in the bottom of this container. I don't know if you can see them very well, but there are spikes on the bottom of the container, and there are spikes on the little thing you put back in, the insert. So you just put your flour in the grinder. That's all. You put the inside part in, and you just gently turn it. Just twist it around, twist it around, twist it around. When it starts going pretty easy, you can tap off the bottom when you're taking it out, because some of it's going to be stuck to that. And here's the thing, I grab a little plate. I don't have to buy a fancy rolling tray, especially if you're just starting out. I use a pasta plate because it's kind of dipped, but it's also flat and it's not too deep, so you're not reaching in, right? So once you're done, if you have your plate over you, just tap that bottom off. Like, I'll show you what I'm doing. Just tap off the little bits of flour onto the plates, just so you don't make a mess anywhere. You don't waste anything, right? Set that upside down over to the side, and take the other part and just pour it on your plate, right? Tap it out. So I just held it flat and I just tap straight down. It just gets the extra bits out. If there's some stuck in there, take your little grinder part and just grind it again. Just swoosh it once. Kind of tap it out. You'll get it out. And that's pretty empty. You can also smell what your flour, it kind of breaks up all the oil bubbles and stuff. Now, if you're not going to use this right away, if you're not going to grind it and put it right into a joint like I'm going to show you how to do, you can take the bottom and pour it. See the spike part that goes inside? I'm just going to take the bottom part, pour my cannabis right in the top part of the grinder, right? Put it back together, and when I put my lid on, it's going to hold it in there. So it's also a storage container. Just be careful for legal patients. Make sure you have your actual dispensary label with your name on it with you. Sometimes the dispensary will actually, if you're going to use this instead, they'll make your sticker so you can peel it off and put it right on here. That way it's with you all the time. Always be careful about that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch camera angles because I'm going to show you the angle of the plate and what I'm doing while I talk. And this isn't hard. I'm taking my time. I have my papers. Any kind. I like organic hemp papers. I like rice papers, but you can get the inexpensive, just the 99-cent rolling papers at the store. And don't be nervous. They're really not that different. The only difference is going to be you're going to get a little more paper with it depending on what size. 1 1/4. 1 1/4 is what I usually use. But it's really not that difficult. You're not gonna, unless you get a pack. If they hand you a long pack or something weird that's not just a little thing, it might be too long, and that makes it complicated. So stick with the shorter papers to begin with, and I'll show you a trick. I'm just gonna switch over here and share this other screen. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Here it is. Okay. Switching camera angles. Here we go. Share. There we go. All right. So now you can see what I'm doing. And the cool thing about papers is you're going to open it up. It's going to be like a tissue box, right? You just pull one out and the next one's ready. Okay. We're going to set that down for a second. I want to show you the pack. If you turn your pack around and you use the kind of the lid part, the flap that covers it, see this flap, right? I'm going to use this as kind of a scoop. That's one little trick, right? So I'm going to use it like this. The other thing is it's harder to roll it just with your fingers. I've shown that. We've done that. But what I want to show today is actually using a dollar bill or any bill. It doesn't have to be $1. I'm just broke. You're welcome to cash out me at $Master Michelle if you'd like to help. I'm going to just tip this up a little bit more so you can see it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I've kind of rolled this a little bit. Like I took the dollar bill and I folded it over, and I basically just want to make sure it's easy to roll, right? It's not going to get a fold or a clump that's, I just want to kind of bend it all, make sure the whole bill is bendy, right? You want it too stiff. Don't want it too stiff, right? So, and it's just, a normal dollar bill. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take him and use this to sort of shape the cannabis that's going to end up in the paper. And it sounds complicated. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my paper and I'm going to notice that shiny strip. That's going to be the glue strip. So I want to make sure that's facing me, right? Because when I put it in, I'm going to put it here. I want that glue to be facing me. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to seal up your joint at the end. Okay. So all you do is you take your little paper or your fingers. You can just pinch it, pick it up like this. It's not going to hurt you. Put it in there, right? And what I do just to try and get an even roll is I make a little indentation. Like I put a lot on each end. I put a little, you know what I mean? Like I kind of spread it out a little bit so it's not all fat in the middle. And I'm just going to fold this over and I'm just going to roll it a little bit to get that cannabis into a shape of a cylinder, right? And then I'm just going to take my paper and I'm going to lay it down flat on the bill so that it's going to go behind that cannabis, right? Then I'm going to put that back down and I'm simply going to roll that paper. Now, as I see the paper start folding over, see how I can see it on the edges starting to get around the whole thing? I'm going to watch and make sure it tucks under. If not, just gently hold it, come in here, and make sure it's rolling around, right? It's going to tuck under. And then you just finish rolling it up. Now, when it's almost done, you take your paper, moisten your glue strip, and finish rolling it up, right? And roll it all the way to the end if you want. And you're going to come up with a nice rolled cigarette, right? A nice rolled joint. Now I'm going to twist the ends just so no more falls out, right? I don't want the cannabis to be falling out the ends. But you can, at this point, kind of assess it and feel it. Mine's a little tight. I might have rolled it a little too tight. So I can take my fingers and just kind of, like you're playing with Play-Doh. You just don't want it to be too hard anywhere. When it all has a little give evenly, right? You have a joint all done. So that was a quick, easy way to take your dollar bill, and you can rewind and look again. But you're just using this to mold the cannabis to begin with into the cylinder shape, right? Down at the bottom. Then you're going to lay your paper on so that the shiny side is facing you, and the paper is going to tuck under behind the cannabis. So you just lay it on the thing. Just lay it here. Make sure there's no cannabis under it, really. And then as you roll it up, it's just going to naturally roll right up into that shape. And you're going to have a lovely, lovely joint at the end. How's that, guys? This leftover, I don't put this back in my container with my clean cannabis, only because, I don't want to be mistaken and put it in the wrong place, or if any ashes, I just don't want anything. This is out. And so what I do is I usually keep some in my grinder just for quick loading the bowl, or if I want to make a sort of a confetti or potpourri joint later by mixing some strains, I can do that as well. So anyway, just put that back in the container, or back in your meds container. If you want to put it back in the bud, it's with the whole buds, it's not going to hurt anything. So you get that all cleaned up and put away, right? Put your papers away, all done. Put your cannabis, put your lid on, all done. All done. Yeah, see, Columbia Care, if you go to conventions and stuff, sometimes they give free papers away. So that's a very inexpensive way to consume cannabis without having to buy any expensive special equipment. If you don't want to get a grinder, just take your little buds and take a little cuticle scissors or nail clippers or something, or your fingers, and just break it into little pieces. It doesn't have to be, you just don't want any hard lumps or nuggets, right? And then you have a joint. How's that? We're going to switch cameras. Hi. So how's that? A quick trick using a dollar bill or 20 or 5 or 10, whatever. Even a piece of paper about this size will work. You can do it. Another suggestion too is if you're uncomfortable rolling joints, get yourself some oregano or some tobacco and practice with that, so you're not, making a mess of your cannabis or getting the keef all over everywhere. You will get stickiness on your fingers from handling cannabis. Those are the oils attaching. No big deal. I guess my quiet period's over. The dogs have decided to yell at the neighbors. Hold on. Let me holler at them. They're so bad. They're barking at a neighbor walking by out front. I'm sure that's the, and Rascals, the little one you hear barking, is the troublemaker. So, all right, let's try this out. See how we did. What do you think? And the cool thing about joints too is even if you microdose, if you only use a little bit at a time, you can put it out and relight it. No big deal. When you light a joint, if you've not done this before, you don't want to keep holding the lighter on the end of it. You just want to ignite it and let it burn. If you see it's burning crooked, you might light the other side or use your finger to stop it from burning so much on one side than the other. That's called running. It happens. It shouldn't. For me, I've been rolling joints for a long time, so I shouldn't have too many runs or any inconsistencies, but watch, it probably will. I'm just going to light it and come away. You might have to give a little blow at the end. If it actually flames, you see it turn into a flame. You might have a second. You might have to puff it a little bit. There we go. That's better. And don't be disappointed if you roll a beautiful joint and it just doesn't burn right. Some strains don't do well in joints. They could be too crumbly or powdery, or It could be too much oils and it doesn't burn as evenly. So don't be worried. And it takes a second to get it going. Lovely. And typically, I will hold it. Other nice things to have around are little pokers. So, like, I have this little metal piece that I twisted into a little stick, and some of the cannabis is coming out of the mouth side, and so I'm just gonna gently. I don't want to pack it too much, but I also don't want to I don't want to eat it. So you can poke the little end back in. Nice. So that's a, a quick, easy way without any special equipment that you can roll a joint just by using a bill, a paper, and your flower, your cannabis. I hope that helped you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me through Instagram, JMO Jen Canna Consult at Instagram, right there on the screen. If you want to write it down quick. Um, I need some hemp oil for my lips. It makes a good hemp oil or CBD oil makes really nice lip treatment. It is like a gloss or a moisturizer or balm, lip balm, but it also heals you while you use it. So it's nice. Sometimes they'll have like a berry essence or they'll use terpenes to make them taste a certain way, a little bit, you know, different flavors and stuff. I say that because I have some berry flavored, naturally flavored, berry flavored CBD oil, and all it is just an essence of berry, and it's some of the essential oils, some of the terpenes from the berries to make it have that sort of nose essence. It's not sweetened. It's not. It just has that essence a little bit. And I was taking some, and some dripped on my lip, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" And I rubbed it in. I was like, "Wow, this is the best lip gloss I've ever used." Anyway, the other thing too, when you're taking a draw, when they say a 3 second draw, they mean the time you're blowing smoke through the actual cannabis. So in other words, a 3 second draw would look like this. I'm going to exhale all the way first, and then I'm going to go right, and I'm going to draw that smoke into my lungs with air behind it to make sure it gets in there and I actually absorb some, right? You can also hold on to your hit um, for a few seconds. In science, osmosis, those little oil particles are bouncing around in that cloud really fast. And so the longer you hold it, the more of them are going to hit the inside of your lungs and stick. And that's how they get absorbed. So you hear news out there. You don't have to hold it. It doesn't make any difference. That information comes to you from the people who want you to buy more. Just gonna put that out there. And here's example. When someone's hyperventilating or they're not breathing properly, you tell them to slow their breathing down and hold their breath. Because what's happening when they're breathing really fast, they're not necessarily getting oxygenated because their air is going in and out so fast it can barely pull any oxygen from the air. But if you tell them to breathe in and hold it for a second, you can watch their oxygen levels rise with the little finger thing that they slide, the little oximeter, whatever they put on your finger to measure the oxygen. Just from breathing techniques, you can see oxygen levels in your blood rise and decrease depending on how you breathe. And if you breathe in and hold your breath for a second, you actually pull more oxygen from the air while it's in your lungs than you exhale, and you're still exhaling some oxygen. You don't pull it all out. The same thing with cannabis. So if you're breathing it in and puffing it out really fast, oh, and it went out. And if you're breathing it in and puffing it out really fast, you're really not giving the inside of your lungs a chance to absorb much of the medicine. So don't be fooled. That's the youngsters' tricks that aren't tricks. That's sales tricks. That's all. I've been using cannabis for more than 25 years. I promise you, I've tried it all different ways, and I can't imagine that I'm that much of an anomaly from everyone else. So, the people that I've talked to and spoken with, unless they had ulterior motives or were trying to be cocky about what they know, they agree with me. I was like, see what just happened? You can also put it out. You can wet your finger and just kind of touch, and don't hurt yourself, but you can put it out. It's not going to hurt you. And that ash on your finger is not going to hurt you either. That's full of mineral salts. Look, it doesn't hurt you. I promise. Cannabis ash. I wouldn't be playing with other ashes, but that's not going to hurt you. Then you have your meds already ready. Get yourself a little container, like one of your cannabis containers or something, empty, or even a little baggie. Or I mean, come on, how many know what this is? Who knows what this is? Bonus points in comments now or later if you see this video and you know what this is. Let me know. If you want to tell me what it is, send me a message on Instagram. Don't tell anybody though. Don't tell the kids if they don't know what this is. It makes a great container is all I'm saying, right? And it can't smell anything. It's all enclosed. That's the idea. Use an old M&M tube, or you know what I mean? Something to keep it enclosed. You can also go to dispensaries in Florida and buy what's called a pre-roll. That's the easiest way to smoke a joint in Florida, is just go buy a pre-roll, right? It's already done for you. Some of the containers are really ingenious too. I wonder if I have any handy right here in my empties. I have this big bin of like just empty stuff. Anyway, I'll have to dig them out, but the pre-roll containers from Surterra are pretty cool. Just have to say, they're 5-pack. If you go into Surterra and you buy a 5-pack of pre-roll, which basically is just like this, except it has a little rolled cardboard like tip, so you don't have to worry about getting cannabis in your mouth. But the 5-pack has a little slip in the bottom that's separate. So once you light your joint or your pre-roll, if you put it out and you don't want to put it back in with the fresh ones to make it smell burnt, right? You can put it in a separate sealed section of the actual prescription container. It's really cool. I will update you guys. We're going to talk about different kinds of containers and stuff like that. I know those can be frustrating with the childproof locks, so stay tuned. Listen, if you like this kind of clip, if you are interested, if you know anybody else who might be interested, someone who is nervous and new with cannabis and wants someone to ask questions, send them my way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share if you can. I appreciate it. Hey, and if you're feeling especially generous, my Cash App is Master Michelle, is the $ Master Michelle. Just putting that out there. I do animal rescue. I counsel people who can't afford counselors. I work with first responders and other veterans, trauma survivors, and a lot of time. And I don't charge for that. So if you want to help, I'm more than happy to accept the help. I just have to get used to asking. Love you guys. Take care. See you next time.